Yo, what's up folks? It's time to look at what's happening with version 0.14, the new major update called Story and Drama. So the first thing here you can see is that the tutorials, like a couple of the tutorials, are really highly recommended. You can still start the game without them, but new players often skip these and then get lost. So if we go to the tutorials, these are now reordered. Electricity and research, these two are moved up. We're going to skip those tutorials and let's see what's new here. So first of all, if you select the Colonist, you can now see that there are faces with visible facial expressions and eyes and eyebrows. And if you generate the Colonists, these will be different. There's a limited set, but eye colors are different. There's matching like of different eyebrows and different eyes. When you have someone with robotic eye, you will see that robotic eye right here in the avatar. So if the eye is missing, or if the eye is from an animal, you'll see that. If you click here, now you see these blue bars. This is a small UI improvement which displays AI alignment of all the beings in your colony. So all your robots are fully aligned, so the bar is full. These colonists have like slightly lower alignment, the animal even lower. Next thing after this is the health UI. In the health UI you can now see these green bars, which are sanity. And also it has pending procedures, which will be visible if we load the save where we have some facilities for surgery. There's no device available. So now you see another little UI change here. The errors are marked in the middle. So it's going to be much easier to understand what's going on. Like if you would try to say connect two devices like that, it says device is not connector now, right in the middle of the screen. Well, previously it would just show something irrelevant, like it would show it here while you hover, but many players would just quickly release the mouse and they wouldn't see that error in red. So now this error is just repeated here, so you can read it carefully and you will not miss it. Let's take a look at the trade UI and what changed here. So first of all, one big change is that our valuables and their valuables have swapped places. Then there's another great change here. Let's say you want to get rid of all your knives, right? So previously you would have to go and select each individual knife, but if you have 100 or maybe even 1,000, it would be difficult. So now you can just filter, say knife, and then you can just select filtered or deselect filtered, and that would select everything in the filtered selection. So you can quickly select like 100 or 1,000 items of the same kind. And if you want to do with plates, so it works. So let's see, plates. You can select all the steel plates, lead plates, titanium plates, and copper plates in your inventory or in the inventory of the trader. Pending procedures now, we have 4 of them. Previously, you would only be able to either order a mass procedure like remove all or install missing, or install or remove something one by one. Now you can micromanage this and you can see these yellow triangles next to the parts that have procedures. You can also cancel them whenever you like. And also you don't even have to open this UI. If you just hover body, you can see the procedures marked right here. These yellow triangles are visible, so you can already tell that there's 3 procedures ongoing for this bot. Also, if you go to health overlay in the bottom, there is this pending procedures, which will be selected by default. You can select any individual unit here. You have these surgeries, you can manage and cancel them from right here. You can order new surgeries if you select a bot. From the list here, you can quickly say replace this arm, replace this eye, select that one, replace the hand with this one, and then you go here and you can see all the surgeries queued up. Let me show you scars that can be formed on body parts. Now you can see here I've selected the person and there are scars here on the eye, on the arm. So if we hover left shoulder, we can see that there's a scar, a severe scar caused by a slashing wound inflicted by a friend. we can make Athena a little bit of a cyborg by replacing the scarred shoulder with an arm socket. And you can see their pending procedures shows this quality change. So we're going to change the low quality arm into a high quality arm socket. All right, so while we're looking at beings, there's one more little change, which is actually not that little because it has huge impact. If we select another being, another drone, which has probably the same mini jet, if we keep switching, we can see that this move speed actually changes. The sight changes. And carry capacity also changes right here. You can see it's slightly different. What's the reason for this difference? It is the quality of the body parts. So now, for example, mini jet here is quality 83 and Photon has quality 30. So Photon will have much lower speed, move speed, because the quality of the mobilizer is low. So you can now, and you're like incentivized to upgrade body parts into better ones. If you want them both to, say, go here, you'll get one of them move a little faster, right? Yeah, so this one has a higher quality mini jet. Here's one new thing. We have a little graveyard. These are urns, like burial urns, where you have ashes of your colonists. And if you hover, then you can see who's there. It's not necessarily colonists. It could be pirates. It could be anyone. You could have like, you could collect the graves, or like you could collect ashes of the fallen enemies and put them in there. And then if you select the urn, you can eject those ashes. So now the ashes are on the floor. They're still named. And if you want to use these ashes as a resource, you have to forget. So when you forget, these become a regular resource. Just combine them as one pile and they would go into storage. They can be crafted in furnace and required for crafting carbon and multi-fertilizers. For planet terraforming, you'll have to collect some ashes, but you can craft them by just burning wood in the furnace. Unrelated change here, but you can notice there are some chess pieces here. So these are new collectibles that you can find on derelicts, and you can dismantle them to get platinum ingot, which is a valuable resource. But you can just collect the whole board, and there will be achievements added for this later. Another change is that job levels are now actually growing very fast compared to before. So if people do something, they will level up, and they will level up significantly faster. So you would get your workers skillful in way less time than before. Sometimes previously you would get like a lot of mining expeditions and the level would barely move. Now, if you send a person on a couple of mining expeditions, especially while the level is low, it will be growing very quickly. There are some animations on devices. Not all of them have it, but some do, and it's not always rotations. Beautiful high detail animation with all the reflections and stuff. Look at this. See, it's beautiful. It's now much nicer and much more alive. And look at the loom, also animated. So yeah, these little animations make the game much livelier and more fun. Coming breach capsule. Oh, that's also got its own animation. So now the breach capsule. By the way, this was a stealth breach capsule. This was you saw that it just displayed that it's incoming, but it didn't show you the capsule flying in. So this is a new story event. It's a breach. It's a stealth breach capsule story event, which means that you cannot really avoid that by shooting the capsule down. You'll have to fight them. Now I'm going to show you a couple of new story events that are worth seeing. Oh look, we have a comet shower, which is a new event. A mesmerizing comet shower unfolds in the distance. Colonists are eager to watch it. This comet shower will give us a mood boost for all biological colonists with mental health. So if you look at the sanity here, also you can see that the tooltips are now showing this in real time. You don't even have to click this, and the comet shower is giving us +3. So yeah, there are more positive events now compared to before. There were some changes to combat as well, to combat AI. They're now fighting a little bit better, like a little bit more interesting. Another change with raids in particular is related to the story system. Raids are now going to be way harder when you're in high difficulty regions. Previously, the raid difficulty would scale with your ship only. So you could start the game in the hard difficulty sector, and you could jump directly to 100 difficulty. And if you would get a raid, it would be like two raiders attacking you. It would be an easy win for you. But now, if you're in early game and you go to 100 difficulty sector, you would get raided by something like 15 raiders, and that would be the end of your ship. We have incoming raiders again. Let's take a look what's happening. Oh, this time it's hull piercers. So these are the new raiding tech introduced in this update. These are spiky balls that will just ram your ship, and they will break through the walls. Once they break through the wall, they travel a little bit. And yeah, it's a hard one. This is a hard event. So they will basically infiltrate your base. Enemies will come out from those little shells, and you'll have a raid. There's also another type of raid where enemies sneak up onto you from the edge of the map. And there's things like multi-storage capsule raids where lots of storage capsule are dropping and the raiders are coming out. Also, storage capsule raids are now slightly different. Like, for example, previously if you had a storage capsule and it was a raid in there, you would have to open the storage capsule in order to trigger the raid. Now you can have a raid where the storage capsule opens on its own. And also, one very important thing that I forgot to mention is that now we have mood buffs and debuffs for sleeping in personal quarters or cozy sleeping quarters, or maybe sleeping in industrial areas. So what counts as an industrial area, and how is this measured? Like, for example, here we have a room with just 4 tiles. It's kind of cramped. So let's see who this bed belongs to. Lady Gaga. Okay. Lady Gaga is healing. By the way, there's a nice healing animation in this device as well. So there you can see the arms moving through the glass. Let's take a look at Lady Gaga. If we look at her sanity, she is sleeping in cramped sleeping quarters. It gives her -2, and you can see there's this guideline pointing. If you click, you're going to see where the mood buff or debuff has happened, the last location of this. So you can see her quarters here, and they're a little cramped, right? So we could make it bigger, or we could maybe remove this wall. But if we remove this wall, this will be counted as dormitory, because there will be 2 beds in one room. So it's also going to be a small debuff for that. And look at this. There's shared a workout with Kyrie, and gaming dispute with Lady Gaga, and also pleasant conversation with Elizabeth. These are new social interactions that people can have. And we're moving closer to the meat of this update. Gaming dispute with Lady Gaga. It probably happened right here. And you can see here Athena and Beethoven playing at a gaming cabinet, at an arcade cabinet. And look, after they played... Oh, okay. They had a chat bubble here, so they enjoyed this. And after they played at this gaming cabinet, they decided to go make love. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at their relationships. So Athena is the spouse of Beethoven. They are both gay. Yeah, so if we click this, I've clicked the relationships to see the list of all relationships, like of everybody who these 2 guys know, of Athena knows. Yeah, so there's like spouse, acquaintances, and familiar, and so on. So if we click on the spouse here, we see this panel which displays us both of them side by side, and we can see if they're compatible, how much time they spent together. Like, they spent 10 days in proximity together, meaning that they were like physically near each other for 10 days in this game. You can see everything about them, like age and stuff. Also, you can see positive and negative interactions they had with each other. So yeah, like there were 33 positive interactions, and you can then see the last 5 of them. So that gave us 1.9 good karma, and then there were some negative interactions as well, but that happens, that's life. So now we have social affinity. If we hover these things, it will show, some of these will show tooltips. So social affinity is how you click with the other person. Like if there's a low social affinity, and in this case both of them have low social affinity, it means that they will have a bit of hate towards each other, and you can see here they're developing hate. They also got married, they're spouses here, you can see the status spouse. Their love strength is weak. I think it's because of the quarreling through that hate thing. Also, you can click this little button with social interactions. You can see all the social interactions they ever had. Arguments and stalking behaviors and like failed intimate moments and successful intimate. There was the wedding party 30 days ago here. Yeah, so you can see, yeah, they wed 39 days ago, but the party was delayed by 9 days, probably due to some unexpected events happening on the ship. Yeah, and there are these casual conversations going on between people who are doing something. And it looks like this conversation didn't go much anywhere, because they're showing thumbs down, which means the conversation wasn't very pleasant. So we can also inspect what they talked about. This looks like it was an argument, like what happened. There's pranking, there's gaming sessions, there's shared workouts. Talking about shared workouts, if you create opportunities for social interactions, like right here, we have 2 treadmills side by side. If someone goes to have a workout, they will create a social opportunity for another person to have a workout nearby. And if they have a workout together at the same time, you'll have them have that social interaction called shared workout. And there's more social interactions like this. 2 people eating at a table will chat and will have a shared meal, and people sleeping in the same beds will have shared a bed and all that stuff. There are also social interactions that depend on the relationship. So for example, if someone hates another person, there could be something like stalking or stabbing even. So someone can stab another person just because they hate them. Something like a stalking here. You can see both people that were involved here, and also the location where this happened, time, and all these things have links. So you can click anything that is underscored, you can either hover or click. Experiences and traits added in this change. Like for example, here we have a little shit, a childhood role, and little shit likes demolition and shooting, and has negative social bonus, well, social debuff. Yeah, and also there are several expedition story events where you send a couple of people on the expedition, and let's say here we have like someone saving another person from a pitfall, and that actually makes their interpersonal relationships go better. So you can have this suspension bridge effect where someone falls in love because someone saved them on an expedition, or they become friends and so on. Also, there's fights happening on the shuttle, so you can not just have good stuff happening, but there could be like arguments and disagreements on the mining expedition. Let me show another huge change in terms of gameplay. It's called the Hyperjump queue. So previously when you wanted to go to hyperspace, you would click this button here. But now if you hover this button, you can see some information here like hyperdrive's ready, hyperjump on hold. If we go to the region view here, we can see that there's this path displayed. So this is where we're trying to go. We're trying to go to this Karlstad. And here, in the settings, you can see all the path points. We can remove them. We can add more. So let's say if after Karlstad I want to go to this relay, I can just see when I hover, there's a pathfinding running through this. And I can right click and that will just create the path. I can also left click and there's travel here, Hyperjump, but it's easier to just right click. And it will always try to route through regions that you haven't visited. Also, if you change your mind, you can just right click again. And it all goes into the queue. You can remove, you can clear the queue here. Now, visit waypoints, there's two ways to jump. If you disable the visit waypoints, the hyperjump will just try to fly as much as you can. And then it will exit hyperspace to recharge the drives. But if you visit waypoints, then the ship will just exit at every single waypoint, and you will have to press this button, which is now the case. We're already in the middle of the path. If I just press this button, the ship will hyperjump. And this same queue works on the universe layer once you get the FTL drives. Now there's another huge change with hypertravel. You are traveling not instantly, the jumps are not immediate, but you are traveling using real time. So it takes a few hours to travel from one point to another. And in case you say run out of energy, since while we're in hyperspace, our solar panels will not be working. So we might start burning battery power, and if you're like out of battery, your ship will exit hyperspace. In that case, if you have an emergency hyperspace exit, you will jump back to your starting origin. So it's going to be like an anchor before you hyperjump. There's an anchor created, and the location you hyperjump from is a safety issue, safety thing, according to the lore of the game, right? And then if it fails, you're just warped back to the anchor, so you wouldn't get stuck in the middle. While we're in hyperspace, we can click this button to change visit waypoint settings. So you can see here, when the setting is set to visit, we see this little icon like arrow pointing to the planet. If it's not, we're seeing that an arrow, which means we'll just go forward. So yeah, you can change this in the middle of flight. Or you can change this by going to this hyperjump settings here and toggling this button here, which also changes this icon in sync. So if I disable visit waypoints, let's see what happens. We're going to fly over here. Then there will be a small window of time where the ship will be lingering here. You'll hear this bell, a single bell, not a triple bell. And you had some time here to press this button to exit hyperspace. If you don't press that button for like 30 minutes in game time, the ship will just keep jumping. There's one change with micrometeoroids. Shields have more time to go up when you have a micrometeoroids warning. Also with the meteors, the speed has been slightly adjusted, so the shield has enough time. Almost always, not always, but almost always, shield has enough time to go up to deal with meteorites. So this is it, folks. That's all the changes I can go through right now. There's much more. Read the changelog, it's really long. There's lots of little things, lots of balancing, lots of tweaks. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this update, and see you next time.